So the Clippers, did they have one of the worst off seasons of all time? I think that's a genuine conversation to have, whether or not the LA Clippers, in fact, had one of the worst off seasons in the history of the NBA. Because if we're being honest here, they did terribly. They got old. They got slow. In terms of like on the court product, they didn't get better. And again, they need to be good. This isn't one of those teams that can afford to be bad, because there obviously is. There has been a lot of teams in off seasons that get worse, but they can afford to be bad. And I think if we're being honest, like sometimes teams get worse and they end up getting better. The Clippers might give the Oklahoma City Thunder the number 1 overall pick. And even if the Clippers themselves in isolation get better, if they go and give Oklahoma City, like if we're honest, let's just say Oklahoma City, they really, really want Cam Boozer, and Darren Peterson is the surefire number 1. They can probably pull a Boston Celtics. Let's just say they're dead set on Cam Boozer or Dybans that are not 100% sure, and they know neither of them are going number 1 if Peterson's going number 1. And they somehow get number 1 off you guys. They could literally just go, yeah, we're going to go and pull a Celtics and Sixers. We're going to trade down, and you're going to give us an extra pick. We're going to trade down 2 spots. You're going to give us an extra pick, like what Dallas did when they want, or what Atlanta did when they wanted Trae Young, even though Luka was much better than Fultz, obviously. And we're going to go down from 3. Don't care if it's Dybans or Boozer at 2. We're going to take the other one, and you're going to get Peterson, and we're also going to get another really nice first-round pick out of that. We're going to get a first-round pick from a team that sucks and is probably not going to make the playoffs in a year because they're dead set on Darren Peterson. Because that's, to make that type of trade up, you have to be dead set. Which, in fairness, the Sixers were dead set on Markelle Fultz. They were just incredibly wrong. Like, to say the Sixers weren't sold on Fultz, like, Sixers were so sold on Fultz. They were obsessed with Fultz. Like, you heard everything that the Sixers were obsessed with Fultz. That he was, like, Fultz was like the only player they thought was worth using their top pick on, which is why they traded up. But you're now putting the Thunder in that position. You have sent home, taken Brook Lopez out of the rotation. And, like, Brook Lopez is somebody that was a starter on a playoff team last season. Like, Chris Paul was a starter on a team. By the way, he was going to be a starter on a playoff team if Victor or Wembanyama didn't get a blood clot. Like, everyone's like, oh, it's an abrupt decline from... no one knew he was going to decline like this, Brook Lopez. And I'm like, maybe it's... Chris Paul was a starter last year. Maybe it's you guys. Maybe it's Ty Lue. Like, Brook Lopez started 80 games last year, averaging 13 points per game. And this season, he is playing 14 minutes per game off the bench. And now has gone out of the rotation. He's now gone out of the rotation. Like, these were moves that, like, you have to be ready. You have to be kind of ready to know how to use these players, especially older players. Like, what was your plan with them? What was your plan with Chris Paul? Like, Chris Paul is clearly not a starting level point guard anymore. I know he was the starter in San Antonio, but, like, that was kind of a transitional year. He was a starter in a transition year. That happens just there as a vet to try to help Victor Wembanyama. And the likelihood is he probably did accomplish what San Antonio wanted him for. He more than likely, when it's all said and done, accomplished what San Antonio wanted for him. But with that being said, obviously, you've got... you've got a situation where he's not going to be a starter. He's likely not going to be a starter at in LA. But either way, even though he's likely not going to be a starter, you would have thought he'd be in the rotation. Then Bradley Beal, they let Norman Powell go because they were like, yeah, it doesn't matter. We can get Bradley Beal on the cheap instead of having to worry about paying Norman Powell in the year. Norman Powell's probably going to be an all-star. Like, the likelihood is Norman Powell's going to be an all-star and Bradley Beal is out for the season. And even when he was playing, he stunk it up. Sent home equals, sounds like he was misbehaving on a field trip as a kid. Realistically, that may as well be it. The Clippers are where you got to retire because the weather is nice. CB3 will probably have a hard time looking because of his age. I know you're going to say Steph and LeBron, but you know what I mean. I mean, he was drafted 4 years before Stephen Curry, and he's not Stephen Curry. He's 40 years old. Like, there's not that many 40-year-olds that are going to be that effective in NBA history. I was trying to think who off the top of my head played till they were 40. Like, Nash technically played till he was 40, if I'm not mistaken. But, like, Nash was never the same after he left Phoenix. Stockton, I think, played till he was 40. The Kid played till he was 40? Kid retired in 2013 and immediately became a coach. Did he last till 40? Because, again, Jason Kidd, like, he wasn't terrible. So, yes, he was 40 when he retired in his last season for the Knicks. He wasn't terrible. He was a starter still. But, again, Chris Paul he was in the era where players are coming into the league younger. He was smaller. And, honestly, he was he hasn't really been the same since 2021, maybe? Actually, no, in fairness, in 2022, a lot of people still were high on Chris Paul because, again, the Phoenix Suns were the 1 seed. They were the 1 seed. He was all NBA first team, I'm pretty sure, in 2021. Like, he was in MVP conversations. And 2023, there was even when he was in the big three. And we are 2.5 years away from him being in a big three that was expected to at least compete for a championship. Maybe not win a championship because of how the Denver Nuggets looked in 2023, but they were expected to compete, and now he's gone. So it's just been a complete shit show. It's a complete shit show. And not only that is you've got a 36-year-old James Harden having to, I think we can be honest, James Harden's not lasting the season like this. He's just not. Like, even if James Harden plays, his body's going to break down. This reminds me of Kobe, except thankfully, Kobe Bryant was fighting for the playoffs and he pushed his body. There's going to be a stage with the Clippers, and the funny thing is, the West is so top heavy that they could fuck about and make the play in. You could be they could make the play in, or they could have a top 5 odd for a number 1 overall pick. How many games are they off the play in right now? How many games are they off it? And look at the standings here. I'm just looking at it on my phone. The LA Clippers are currently in the West. They are the 13th seed, but they're only 3 games off the play-in. They're only 3 games off the play-in, which is a not big number. Really not a big number. But yeah, look, this has been an absolute disaster of an offseason from the perspective of the Clippers. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how many more years Harden has. I don't know if you blow it up. And it's you're never going to get that pick back from OKC. But you have to let Chris Paul go reputationally amongst the league. Getting rid of Chris Paul is never going to go well because I'm not going to say Chris Paul is a beloved player because we have to be honest. It's well known that he's an asshole. That being said, he may not be a beloved player, but he's a respected player. It's kind of hard to treat a player that's respected like this. But yeah, that's pretty much it, lads. I'll see you guys.